Good day, traders. This is Rich with some price action on the markets. Currently 4:12 p.m. September 10th, 2021, Friday, end of the week. Another slow, grindy week. Markets are down for the third or fourth day in a row, and I was able to get out ahead of this one, but a couple mistakes, a couple crazy news trades, and some mega moves on Apple. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and comment on the video. I appreciate that. I hope you're doing well. Hope your trading's doing well and your guys are making good trades. Sitting on hands most of the day unless you see a good setup. Not forcing anything, avoiding some stuff. So at one point today, we had the markets flat. I mean, the Dow was always down. I think it was down like 80. And the NASDAQ was like down 30 or 40. It went green. Everything went green. And then Apple news came out around this hour. This is the SPY. Apple just kind of announced that the Epic Games, Fortnite, all that stuff. I am an app developer. I have an app development company, and I will get into that when I get to Apple in a second. So let's bring up today's action. Here it is. And I overtrade a little bit, but it's funny because a couple of these things should have worked, and some of these things did work amazingly, and I just didn't stay in. I had one news trade that just seemed like it was going to work, and it didn't work. So let's get into it. Baba was the news trade that failed. News was pretty bad on Baba here, and it just kind of reversed. I thought this thing was going to get just thumped. I mean, it's getting thumped for months now, based on Chinese listed stocks and things like that. And it just turned around. I tried trading it a couple times. I got a really bad fill, so a couple things happened on this one. I got a really bad fill with the short side. That's the problem with shorting, because you need an uptick to get into a trade. And on a short, I got in. I was already down like 40 cents on the trade, and then the numbers coming in were so out of line that this is the first time in a long time I had to make a comment about TradeStation where my prints on Baba were terrible, and I was seeing something totally different than the level 2 and totally different than on the matrix. And I'm like, what is going on here? So I ended up taking a bigger loss. It was actually a $40, $50 loss, which I was fine with a mistake trade, but then I tried getting in again. And the same thing happened because I thought I was going to do a secondary flush down, breaking down through the early, through like a recent low, but not too low. Because, again, the news seemed bad. Anyway, not to get into too much, you can see it ended up being a green candle on this move. Just a wild, wild thing. EFTR is probably my mistake today. We saw this thing move the other day. It was just insane. I thought we were going to get this inside day breakout. I know it's a little far away, but this thing can cook. And if it cooked, I was looking to hold this thing. And, of course, it just spun out of control and just went against me, and I got hit pretty hard. I'll do Apple last. RBLX was kind of like a news flow, kind of not moving, but that was around the time Apple was trading with its news. I'll get into that again. Tesla, I'm not too sure. SPRT, I actually was up about 30 or 40 bucks on this one, and then tried trading again. The news was the merger went through, that they were just a merger with another company. I forgot who. It popped up and just thumped down. I was able to get out at the top here. Thumped down, halted to the downside, and now we're reaching lows for at the close. Not a great trade today. Some people got burned in the news trade on this one because it seemed pretty good, but that's what we were watching the whole time. So it was like sell on the news. You got to protect, and that's how I've always traded. When someone goes against me, I protect, and that's also worked against me where it goes up like 30 points. You know what I mean? So two ways to look at that. Penn was a quick news trade that just didn't fizzle into anything. EA was a news trade. Hood was an E-trade. ATER was probably, I talk about secondary moves and moves that are going to move. I liked certain entries like this 1250 entry I really liked. I took it and I got out. I'm like, I got 15 cents on it. I didn't get 15 cents on it, and then it turned around and went down to a 12.24. But if I had held, down to this moving average, look what it ended up doing. It ended up going over 13. So that was a good trade. So that's one of those ones where I don't let it go against me, and then it does work. But sometimes you gotta just let these things work. This stock has been really hot this week, but the markets weren't really giving me a reason to stay in it, so I got out. Anyway, AMC early trade, took a pop on it. It was okay. WWE was news. I'll get into RINT in a second. WWE was a quick news pop. Sono, quick news pop. Sono was a miss because I actually got in on this news pop around below 37.80, and then I got through 38. It popped and then dropped, and I'm like, okay, and I got out, and then look what it did. It went up another 75 cents. So I missed a whole bunch on that, and I was in for 500 shares. So that would have been a really, really good news trade. I just was I don't know what it is. I'm just too quick to exit, which is good and bad. KPLT, I don't even remember taking that. Wow. Yesterday I was up $130, and I had a pretty good day, but I had stuff I had to do after work, by the way, or after the trading day. I think it was an early trade through 7 here, 500 shares, I think it was, and I got a few cents on that. And that was the trade on KPLT. Okay, so the biggest miss today, AFRM. I got it back to the high today, or higher at the beginning, was 111.50. And earnings, so here's what I'm looking at. Earnings plays tend to not, if they're going to make it's going to be dictated what they're going to do by 10 o'clock, not in the first 15 minutes, not in the first 20 minutes, around the first 30, 35 minutes. And that's what I said. I'm like, if this thing starts moving up, breaks out of this little range here, it's going to make new highs. And look what it does. So this high I was looking at, 1050, I got in at like 1020 on the move on this one. I was up big, quick, and I was only for 200 shares. And look what it did. It went down to 1085, never looked back. 126.46. 16 points on the table left behind. Just really good news on their earnings, and I don't know what it is. Even if I had one share to close out at the end of the day, I would have been happy. That would have been $16, whatever. But at least what I said, I held it, and I held it. I gotta learn to hold more. And, in particular stocks like this one, if you're looking for scalp trades, it's totally different. But on a move like this was one of those ones. You got to wait till around 10:15 to make its move. And then if it does, you take it. And then hopefully it starts moving up. If it starts just flushing down, like it makes a move up early on, like 9:35, 9:45, and then turns around, that's where I'm like, okay, I'm not touching this thing. I've gotten burnt so many times on earnings plays. Again, earnings plays early on in the move. So anyway, that was AFRM. Got 216 on it, which is not bad. My $87 day was okay. I was up 250 at one point today, which is the frustrating part. And I gave some back when I got going with Apple. The Apple news was Epic Games. If you're not familiar with Fortnite, in the App Store, they were taking too much. They weren't allowing payment systems, all this other stuff. And Apple won all the cases but one count in the law or the lawsuit. I don't know all the details, so you might want to check that out to get confirmation on it all. But I've had an app development company. I actually sold one, and I have a new one since 2014. I work with the App Store. I work with the Google Play Store. And let me tell you, without those two, I don't have a business. So there's that. So just remember, without those two app companies, I don't have a business. And although Epic Games was so big and was making billions of dollars during the Fortnite craze a few years ago, they were looking for a little bit more, and I don't think they were going to try to. I believe they were trying to beat Apple in certain schemes, and Apple needs to get their pennies because they're producing and providing all these listings for Epic Games, and then they're using them on their phone. So it's almost like, who's going to win here? They do take a big percentage of your earnings. They do take a percentage of your sales on the App Store, which is fine. That's just part of the game. And again, trust me, when I get my final monthly statement, and let's say it's $1,000, and it's really I'm only getting $700. You're like, wait, what happened to that $300? Well, that's your commission you got to pay to Apple or Google or whatever the amount is, but up to a certain percentage. But they did reduce it down to 15% for developers that make under $1 million a year. Now, if you're making over $1 million a year, you have to pay the 30%. So there's only one way. So you're buying skins or whatever in Fortnite, and you're dropping $10 on a skin, and that's the only way. So you're actually losing money. And I guess Fortnite was just not too happy about that. Anyway, or Epic Games. Apple today. I didn't even realize what the news was at first, and I was looking to go long. I was looking for bounces all the way down. I was down 150 on Apple at one point, and I was, just like mesmerized by it, because anytime it dropped down below a whole number, it would turn around at the 80 point. And I got in a few times at the 80, looked for it to jump up, and I made some of my money back doing that. Actually, I could have made a lot more money back, because I did think under 50, once it broke 150, it would have a good turnaround spot. So this was the 150 break here. And then it popped back through 150 would be a nice move, and it went to 150.47, and eventually came back down to 149, where we are right now. Anyway, Apple, these trillion-dollar companies, you can't say enough about them. Everyone's against them, but at the same time, they too provide businesses for millions of people, a lot of jobs, a lot of developers, a lot of sales, marketing, you name it, advertising. Yes, they're collecting way more than anyone else, but without that business model, there's no other model to be made from it, if you don't understand what I'm saying. So I appreciate Apple and what they've done for me. I do have my big concerns and annoyances with them, but at the same time, without them, I wouldn't have the business. So I can't really be too upset. Obviously, things need to be a little bit shifted, I think, for the bigger names like Epic Games and stuff like that, who do provide a lot of money for Apple. But this is a long video. I guess I'm making up for yesterday. Trading was kind of weak this week. Again, short week. Hopefully next week we start kicking it in. News flow was a little rough today, and hopefully that picks up as well. You guys have a nice weekend. I'll be back. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also comment. I haven't heard from some of you in a while, so make sure you comment. And I will be back on Monday. Have a good night.